So the entree for today is going to be chicken fried steak with brown gravy instead of country gravy. You can have it both ways, and I'll show you how to make country gravy in a later episode. All right, so let's get cooking. Okay, so right here you'll notice that I have a bunch of cracker crumbs. But I wanted to show you exactly how I got those cracker crumbs. So here I have some saltine crackers and I have a gallon Ziploc bag. All right, can you see that okay? So in here we're just going to take a few of these and we're going to throw them in there, all right? Then we're going to seal it up. We're going to take most of the air out of that, okay? So seal it part way and squish the rest of the air out of it. Now, we have a rolling pin, and what we're going to do is just crunch them up first, hit them with the rolling pin, and then we're just going to continue rolling until we get close to a fine dust, okay? Also in that mixture is some breadcrumbs and some panko. And you can buy the breadcrumbs and panko in any grocery store. It'll save you a little work. And you can use all three of those or only one, whichever ones you like. It doesn't matter which ones you use. Your chicken fried steak is going to be fantastic. So I've got these all crushed up. I'm going to throw them in here. Now the next thing, very important, once we get our cracker crumbs done, is to season them. So we're going to use some pepper. And we don't need salt because the saltines will take care of that. Then we're going to take this and just shake it in. Watch that. See, just mix it up. All right. Now in our next bowl here, we just want some all-purpose flour, okay? And it shouldn't take too much. I'd say about a cup. Probably be fine. Okay, and then for our other one here, we want a couple eggs, okay? So we're going to take one egg, take 2 eggs, and I'm going to use 3. We might be able to get away with 2, but we're going to go ahead and use 3 for this. All right, next thing we're going to do is beat the eggs. I just use a fork. You can use whatever you want, but I find a fork works the best. And if you tilt it a little bit, then it'll grab the eggs. If you can see how it's grabbing the eggs there. Yeah. Look at that. It kind of wraps around the fork, and that's how you know they're getting mixed really well. Okay. All right, so in order, we have our flour, our eggs, and our breadcrumbs. The next thing we're going to want is a plate to set everything on when it's done. Okay, so lined out, here's some cube steaks that I bought just from the store. You can buy them wherever you shop, and you might even be able to ask your meat guy for them. So first thing we're going to do is season our cube steaks. Pepper and salt, okay? Then we're going to flip them over and salt and pepper on the other side, okay? A little salt on there. Don't overdo it. Then we're going to season our flour mixture. So pepper and a little bit of salt in the flour mixture. Same thing with our egg mixture. A little pepper and a little salt. Now if you remember, we've already seasoned our breadcrumbs, so we don't even have to bother with that. It's already done. Okay, so here we are. We've got our cube steaks seasoned, our flour seasoned, our egg seasoned, and our breadcrumbs seasoned. So one by one, we're going to use a dry hand and a wet hand. All right, so the dry hand is going to go in here, and we're just going to press this down a little bit, okay? You don't want to press it down too much because then you end up with too thin of a steak. But you just go ahead and press it down, drop it in with the dry hand, okay? And flip it with the wet hand, all right? Wet hand comes out, bring in the steak with us, and then we go back to the dry hand. Once we get it in here, we're going to sprinkle the breadcrumbs over it, okay? And once we get it to that point, look at that. We're going to set it right here on our plate, okay? And then we're going to start on another one. So we're going to dump in the flour, dry hand, okay? Press it in pretty good. We want it to get coated pretty good. The flour is what makes the breading stick, okay? And the egg here is your binder. Back in with my wet hand, okay? And you'll see we want to just make sure there's no bare spots, okay? Into our breading on top. And kind of press it so that it sticks on there really good. Okay, and another beauty, okay? Put this one over here. Now I've got some wax paper sheets here. I'm just gonna put one on top, just like that. So then when we put the steaks on there, they're gonna sit, they won't stick or anything like that. All right, so dry hand. Press it down in some of that flour. You can put some up on top if you like. Look at there, okay, very nice. All right, into the egg mixture, wet hand. All right, very nice. And back to dry hand, okay? Just press that in. Flip it over once if you like. And we're gonna set this one, look at that, beauty. Set this one right on top of the others, okay? Between the wax papers on there. All right, bring this in. A little dry, yeah, baby. You can shake this and it will come right back. Just like that, back into the egg. Wet hand. There we go. And you can see there's some dry spots on there. So we'll go right back into the egg. And we'll do that until those dry spots are gone, okay? Back into the breadcrumbs. Dry hand comes back in. Pack it down. All right. Now look at that. There's your chicken fried steaks. So now you just set these aside. You can save these breadcrumbs. It's my recommendation if you're going to save them that you freeze them, okay? Okay, so we've got our chicken fried steaks. Look at those bad boys, huh? They're beautiful. And you can see that they're breaded really nice on both sides, okay? So that's what we're looking for. Now we're ready to do the roux, okay? Now there's a lot of different ways to make roux. You can use oil, you can use bacon grease, you can use beef grease. For this we're going to use butter, and we're going to use a whole stick of butter, okay? We're going to get that in there and let it start melting. Now, in this measure right here, I've got 4 cups of water, and then I added beef base. Now, beef base is different than bouillon. It's not quite as salty, and it comes in a jar. You can find it on the dry shelf in the soup aisle. So we added our beef base to that, and all you do is taste that, and you want it to taste really beefy, because that's how your gravy's going to taste, okay? All right, as you can see, our stick of butter has melted down pretty well. So because we used 1 whole stick of butter, that's 8 tablespoons, okay? So we're going to use the same amount of flour. So we're going to level this off. There's 1 tablespoon, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, okay? 8 tablespoons of butter, 8 tablespoons of flour. Then we're going to take that and get it stirred in, okay? We want to make sure there's no flour left that you can see. You want it to be mixed right in there, all right? Now we're going to let that simmer for just a couple minutes. Okay, it doesn't have to boil. You don't want a hard boil. You just want it to simmer. All right, as you can see, that roux is starting to bubble. Look at that, and that's exactly what we want. We want it to bubble a little bit, and you should cook it for probably 5 minutes. All right, we're gonna shift that around a little bit. Look how nice. See how it's bubbling really good? You always want to cook your roux so it's nice and cooked. So now, we have our beef water here that we made prior, okay? And we made sure it was nice and beefy the way we want our gravy to taste. So we're gonna toss that in there, and then we're just gonna slowly stir in the roux, okay? Now, the next thing is we're gonna turn the heat up a little bit, all right? Because we want that to bind. And the best way to bind it is to let it simmer, not a boil, just a simmer, for about 5 minutes, okay? got that nice and stirred up, so now we're going to let that start to simmer for about 5 minutes. All right, we're starting to see some bubbles in the middle of our gravy, which means it's getting hot, okay? So we're just going to stir nice and slow. Nice and slow, and let it keep heating, let it keep heating. Yeah, now when you swirl this, that you can see that it's starting to thicken. Okay, so you just leave it on there. Let it start to thicken, and then there's one final secret ingredient that I use, and it's kitchen bouquet, okay? There's not much left in this one. Yeah, so there's a few drops, okay? But it's okay, I have another one. Okay, so now we got some kitchen bouquet. Gonna drop a few little droplets of that in there. Now when we stir this, we're going to see that kitchen bouquet go right in, and it's going to turn a little darker, okay? And kitchen bouquet is basically seasoning. So it's going to take your already spectacular gravy and boost it right up to where you need it to be. Perfect. Hey, and there's my grandson, Kaiser.
Yeah.
And my wife. She's okay. All right, so now our gravy's starting to heat up. And if I stir it for you, you can see that it's starting to thicken up. And that's what you want. You just want it to thicken up. And listen, if it doesn't taste all that great when you're finished, add some salt and pepper. If you need to, you can add some more beef base. Just be careful not to overdo it. Beef base is salty, so. But yeah, look at that. We're looking at some good gravy right there. All right, so you just want to take a look at that gravy. Look at that. And it really does taste as good as it looks. So next, we're going to get our pan heating up over here, and we're going to fry our chicken fried steaks. Woohoo! Okay, so now it's time to fry our chicken fried steaks. Now, a good sized pan, I try to do 2 at a time. The oil that I use is either canola or peanut. Peanut oil I find is the best. It cooks the most even. It doesn't have a bad aftertaste. And canola is just about as good. So we've got this heating up. Don't stick your hand in the oil, but you can feel to see if it's hot. All right, everybody, the time has come. Now, we need to make sure that this oil is hot enough. So what I did is I just took a little piece of a breadcrumb off one of the chicken fried steaks. I'm just going to toss that in there. And see that? That is ready. So that means we are ready to cook. So, take our first chicken fried steak here. Actually, you can lay it in with your fingers if you want to. It's not going to bite. And then here, we're going to put one right next to that. Okay, and we're going to let those cook. And they look kind of cool, don't they, when they do that? And we're just going to take our time. There's no hurry. You know, when you put those in, it's obvious that the oil is going to cool a little bit. So it's not going to bubble quite as much. But as long as it's still bubbling, then you're fine. And if you have to, you can inch it up. I've got it on 6. We can turn it up to 7. Oh, by the way, I hate glass top stoves. I just don't like them. To do truly good cooking, you need a gas range. But now that's not to say that you can't cook good food without a gas range. But beyond the glass, the next best thing is a coil. And that's the kind that have the little swirls. And then the next best thing after that is gas. Glass is the last thing I would choose for myself. But here we are. Enough said about that. Now, every once in a while, you're just gonna get tucked underneath and just look at that, okay, and see what it looks like. And the next thing you're gonna watch for is blood. There might be blood coming to the surface on these, and that's why I don't turn them up too much. Keep them at about medium heat. If they're cooking properly, eventually you'll see either moisture or blood come to the surface. And that's what you want. And they're just simmering nice and easy. We're not in a hurry. Just take your time. There's no hurry. Yeah, at this point, mom and dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, and this is the time where you might want to take a sip of your favorite cold beverage. All right, so you'll start to see patches of moisture coming to the surface here. See the red? So that tells you it's about time to turn them. So just pick it up and flip it over. And you should have a nice golden brown by now, okay? This one, see how it's lighter here? So we turn that to the outside, and then I'll cook it faster the other way. These look really good, really good. Now, while our chicken fried steak is cooking, let's take a look at that gravy. Oh man, look at that. Beautiful. You did great. Okay, now so you can see here, see the blood coming to the surface, the moisture, that's what you want. And when that happens, all you do is flip it over and let it cook on the other side. Now, when the moisture comes to the surface on this one, it'll just be moisture, it won't be blood. Okay, so I set up a plate, and it's just a couple layers of paper towels. And these two here are done, so we're going to go ahead and pull them out. And we're going to set them on the towels, okay? Then I'm going to set another layer of towels over these to put the next two on. And the next two are going in right now as we speak. And we're going to get them going. Now, if the oil level gets too low, you can add some more oil. You just have to wait a couple seconds for it to heat up. You can almost hear those. They're calling to you. Oh, we're so good. Check this out. We'll flip that over. Nice, getting a nice golden brown color now. Beautiful. All right. These are the second two, so we have four now. So these are the last two, and they look really good. So we're going to go ahead and pull them off. Now that the chicken fried steaks are done, I'm just going to throw them in my little air fryer on keep warm, and it'll keep them warm until dinner's ready. And it won't toughen them up. Okay, so now I'm going to do some vegetables. So this is just a yellow squash. I'm going to cut the head off, cut the tail off, okay? Then I'm going to turn it, see how it rocks like that? Turn it like this, so it's straight all the way down, then just cut it in half. Turn it over, cut it in half again on each side, okay? Then I'm just going to chop this, keep the toe of the knife on the table, and just go right down. Kind of move these, but keep your fingers curled, okay? So you don't get them under the knife, because it hurts. Okay, so there's your yellow squash. Now, same thing with this. This is a zucchini. We're just going to cut the top off. See where it's rocking? So we're going to go straight down and then straight down again, okay? We're going to pull that off the top if we want. Doesn't really matter. We can pull this and just right down the line. Universal cuts, people. Universal. Try to keep them universal. You don't have to go near this fast. If you want, just take your time. Don't cut yourself. That's the biggest thing. We want to do this without getting hurt. Okay? So that's what we do. Just go right down the line. Keep this thing on the table. And if you have to, put your hand on top of it. It's not going to hurt. Just keep your fingers curled and out of the way. The onion, we're just going to cut this end off. Okay, that goes in the trash. We're going to cut down through this knot. Okay? Set one side like this. Now we're going to peel from here. And just peel that outside layer off. And when it gets up here to the core, you can just leave it. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, just like that. Okay? See, now he's got a little haircut. Hey, look. No. So you take this, put this in here, and get all the skins out of the way. You don't want any skins in your onions. So pull this back. Now, normally we'd be doing diced onions, but I'm going to go ahead and just do slices like this. So you slice right down, keep it fingers curled right next, okay? Then when you get to here, you just cut right down through like that, okay? Now this is only for julienne, all right? So now you got your julienne, just like that, okay? Get them all broke up, okay? There's your juliennes. Next is the bell peppers. Bell pepper's easy. Right here is where you want to make your cut. So you cut down through like that, take the middle out, okay, and throw it away. Then you're going to cut the bottom like this, set it aside, Then you're just gonna cut through the middle one time. And when you open this up, you take this out and then kind of pat it like that and the rest of the seeds will come out. Take this out, pat it, okay? Get the seeds out of the way. And then on this, you're gonna lay it down and just cut the membranes out. You don't want the membranes in there. You just want the bell pepper. Okay, for this one, cut across like this and like that. And just go as slow as you need to go. You don't have to hurry like me. All right. Then, I'm gonna cut it down this way. Just be careful of your fingers, okay? Always respect your tools and they'll be nice to you. The moment you don't respect your tools, they'll cut you. All right, this one's the next, okay? Now, this is how we do vegetables for our side, okay? It's just vegetables and fried steak with gravy, right? We're gonna save these because I don't think we'll need that much. Hey, you know what? Let's do them anyway. Let's just get them in there. Why not? Watch your fingers, Mr., Mrs., Missy, Master. There you go. All right, so good. So those are our mixed vegetables. Awesome, we did good. Okay, so right now, I've got the pan heating up. I've got the butter right here. We're gonna use 2 tablespoons of butter, okay? So you can see there, 3 tablespoons, I'm sorry. So 3 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna go ahead and open this up, drop that butter in there and let it start to sizzle. Okay, I've turned the pan up to high now. Our butter is melted, okay? So what I have first is some garlic, okay? It's just crushed garlic. And you can crush it yourself, or you can buy it crushed. If you do it yourself, it's better. If you buy the crushed, it's good. And then we're going to bring our vegetables in. Okay? Look at those vegetables. All right, we've got yellow squash, zucchini, onions, and bell peppers. Okay, and we're just going to let those start to get hot. I've turned the stove up to high now. Now, if you have a gas stove, then you can leave it at medium and you'll be fine. Okay, so we're just going to let those start to simmer. Now, while that's going, I've got some black pepper and some salt. Okay? I'm going to put some black pepper on there. Fresh ground always. I always use fresh ground. If you don't have it, that's okay. So you give it a nice little freckle there, okay? Then I've got some Himalayan pink salt. If you can't find this, iodized salt. And I got a little too much, so I'm just going to do that and then throw the rest away. Don't over salt it. Then we're just going to toss these. If you can't do that, just use a spoon. It's fine. Stir them around. That's all you got to do. Yeah, look at that. So now they're looking good. All right. We've got our seasoning in there. And now that they're sizzling good, the last thing is a little balsamic vinegar. All right? Not too much. You don't want to overpower it. You just want to give it some flavor, okay? So you can see down in the bottom where it's changed color. That's good. All right, so now they should take on a tan color, just like that. That's perfecto. Okay, so now I just wish you could smell how that smells. But you're gonna do this, so you'll know exactly how it smells. And when you taste this, oh man. Now it's time to put this whole dinner together, okay? So first thing I do is I take some of my gravy. See how nice and thick that is? Can you see that? Yeah, you can see it. So see how nice and thick? So I put a dab on the bottom like this, okay? Now I'm gonna come over here. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm grabbing a chicken fried steak. I'm gonna set it right on top of that gravy, okay? Normally this would come with mashed potatoes, but I know you guys know how to make mashed potatoes, and if you don't, I'll have it on an episode. Just let me know. So we're gonna put a little gravy over this steak, just like this, okay? And then we're gonna grab some of these vegetables. Yeah, let's put the vegetables on there. And yeah, and I think, as you can see, and if you need salt and pepper on that, that's fine, but everything should be seasoned just the way you seasoned it. Don't be afraid to use seasoning, and don't be afraid to, to investigate, have a little fun. All right, so right here, we're gonna cut into this, and as you can see, it's done, okay? I'm gonna scoop up a little bit of that gravy. Oh man.
Really good.
Really good. So thank you for joining me for Let's Get Cooking. We'll see you next time. Right? I don't know.